You already understand people better than you think. You were just never taught how to decode the signals they constantly leave behind. Every person is always writing about themselves in their gestures, their pauses, their tone, their reactions. And Nietzsche's ideas can become your key to this hidden language. It's a skill no one teaches you, but once you learn it, there's no going back. Let me be clear from the start. This is not a quick list of tips or surface-level psychology. We're going to move through 3 connected parts. Each one builds on the last. If you skip ahead, you'll lose the depth that makes this approach actually work. Stay with me until the end, because by the final moments, you won't just see others differently. You'll see yourself in a way you never have before. From childhood, we're trained to trust words. Language becomes our currency, our way of negotiating with the world. But Nietzsche warned that language rarely tells the whole truth. People don't speak from honesty. They speak from necessity, from fear, from pride, from the desire to be accepted. What you see on the surface isn't the person, it's their protection. The one who seems excessively kind may be afraid of being rejected. The one who appears unbreakable may be holding themselves together by force of will. What makes this so deceptive is that most people don't realize they're playing a role at all. They become actors in a story written by experience, their smiles, opinions, and confidence shaped by whatever once kept them safe. That's why most people aren't hiding from you. They're hiding from themselves. Nietzsche once said that every deep soul needs a mask, not as an insult, but as a warning. Don't confuse the covering with the core. Here's what almost no one tells you. Truth leaks, not through words, but through cracks, in the glance that drifts away, in laughter that lingers too long, in the sudden change of subject when things get too close. And this leads to the first truth. People wear masks not because they're fake, but because they're afraid of not belonging. They create a version of themselves they hope will be accepted. But no mask holds forever. It starts to slip in moments of tension. Where someone feels uncomfortable, their real story begins. What a person fiercely criticizes in others often points to what they're hiding in themselves. Nietzsche called this projection. The one who mocks confidence may fear their own insignificance. The one who constantly talks about dishonesty may be avoiding a truth of their own. Don't just notice what people admire. Watch what irritates them. And ask why. Silence often speaks louder than sentences. Nietzsche saw speech as something people use to escape reality. When someone hesitates before answering, dodges certain topics, or gives polished, empty responses to deep questions, that pause is revealing something. Fear of vulnerability always leaves a trace in quiet. Loud virtue can hide vanity. Be cautious of those who constantly display their rightness, who preach, correct, and perform morality. Sometimes goodness becomes a way to feel superior. Real humanity doesn't need an audience. People deceive themselves long before they deceive others. Phrases like, "I'm fine," or "I don't care," are often repeated until they start to feel true. Nietzsche didn't see self-deception as evil, but as survival. And it's in the gaps between words and actions that understanding appears. Where someone shows superiority, there is often a hidden sense of inferiority. Constant reminders of achievements, casual belittling of others, the need to dominate. These can all be attempts to silence a fear of being invisible. Quiet confidence doesn't compete. Reading people isn't about judging them. It's about seeing their center. When someone interrupts, it might not be arrogance. It might be fear of disappearing from the conversation. When someone displays happiness publicly, it might be a request for connection. The body, the tone, and the patterns often speak more honestly than language. Use this awareness not as a tool for control, but as a way to grow compassion. The more clearly you see someone, the harder it becomes to hate them. That was Nietzsche's deeper aim. Not to expose people so you can manipulate them, but to understand them so you can connect. If you've ever felt like you only see the surface of people, share that experience. Talk about a moment when someone revealed the truth without saying a word. And if this perspective shifted something in you, stay with me. Noticing the mask is only the beginning. The real moment comes when you see it start to crack. You've probably noticed it before. The tension when someone's beliefs are challenged. The change in tone when a conversation gets too personal. The laugh that doesn't match the words. These aren't accidents, they're signals. And once you learn to read them, you realize people aren't difficult to understand. They're afraid to be seen. In the first part, we explored how protective personas are built. In the second, we go deeper, to the place where those personas begin to break. Nietzsche believed the self isn't a fixed structure, but a role shaped by experience and necessity. And when that role feels threatened, truth starts to surface. Almost every action is rooted in fear. Think about it. Why does someone over-explain? Why does one person dominate a conversation while another disappears? Why do people say yes when everything inside them is saying no? It's fear of abandonment, rejection, humiliation, or being unimportant. Nietzsche believed humans rarely act from pure desire. They act from a fear of losing something, status, love, or self-worth. So, if you want to understand someone, don't ask what they want. Ask what they're afraid of losing. Excessive criticism is a form of confession. The one who mocks sensitivity may be running from their own emotions. The one who attacks others' appearance may be fighting a private war with themselves. Judgment often reveals more about the speaker than the target. Turn the criticism inward, and you'll find the wound. Performative confidence can hide guilt. Nietzsche noticed this in people who feel the need to constantly prove they're right. Sometimes it's an attempt to outrun a past version of themselves they don't want to face. Peace doesn't need a performance. Exaggeration leaves a trail. When someone says, "I don't care at all," or "I'm always happy," it's rarely true in the literal sense. Extremes are often an attempt to drown out doubt. Volume points to what's being silenced. The need for control often grows from inner chaos. When someone can't manage their own inner world, they try to manage the outer one. Micromanagement, dominance, rigidity, these can all be ways to hold themselves together. The harder the shell, the more fragile the inside can be. The louder the performance, the stronger the need to be seen. In a world of endless displays and curated identities, Nietzsche would likely see not power, but longing. Constant self-presentation can be a way of saying, if I'm not noticed, I don't exist. Wholeness doesn't need a stage. Put it all together and something shifts. You walk into a space and start seeing patterns instead of just hearing words. You sense the wound behind the boasting, the anxiety behind the sharp tone. You're not reading minds. You're reading defenses. And at that point, this stops being just a skill. It becomes a responsibility. Because once you see the hidden struggle, you realize how many people carry their pain behind practiced smiles. And you get to choose to use that knowledge or to respond with grace. If this part changed how you see people, get ready. The final part goes even deeper, to the origins, to how childhood experiences shape adult traits, how envy, silence, and the need to be remembered reveal the story of the soul. You won't just see others more clearly, you'll recognize yourself. By now, you're not just looking, you're identifying. Not heroes and villains, but people who learned to survive in the only ways they knew how. But there's one more layer. Behind every action is a belief, and behind every belief is an early experience. This final part is about seeing not just behavior, but its source. People don't speak from reason. They speak from pain. We like to think our views come from logic, but Nietzsche believed something else comes first: the wound and then the explanation. Someone might say they don't believe in closeness, but what you're really hearing is the echo of loss. World views often become armor. Understanding begins when you stop asking, "Why do they think this?" and start asking, "What are they trying not to feel again?" How someone responds to weakness reveals their strength. Watch how a person treats those who can't fight back. Mockery of vulnerability often hides fear of one's own. Harshness toward mistakes can reflect a past where mistakes weren't allowed. But the ability to sit with someone else's pain without judgment points to inner freedom. The fear of being forgotten creates a hunger for attention. Those who always need the spotlight often carry a memory of being unseen. It can look like confidence, but underneath there's often a quiet question: do I matter? Noise becomes a way of proving existence. Attacks can hide admiration. Criticism is sometimes disguised envy. Seeing someone live out a part of yourself you've abandoned can be painful, and instead of acknowledging it, people tear it down. But envy is also a compass. It points toward what you secretly want to become. People repeat their childhood, not their ideas. The roles you once had to play tend to return in new settings. The one who wasn't heard may stop listening. The one who had to earn love may keep performing for it. Behavior is biography, told without words. Habits are confessions, disappearing when things get close, working endlessly to avoid stillness, flirting without forming real bonds. These aren't random, they're protection strategies. And when you see them clearly, you stop taking everything personally. You start seeing the story behind the action, and something changes in you. You stop being a weapon. You become a mirror, someone who sees and still chooses humanity. You're not just reading others. You're remembering yourself. Take a moment. Everything we've explored isn't only about other people. It's about your own patterns, your own fears, your own defenses. The clearer your vision becomes, the more honest you are with yourself. Nietzsche didn't call for observation alone. He called for awakening, for realizing that every judgment carries a reflection and every admiration carries a desire. If any of this resonated with you, share which truth struck you the hardest. Let's create something honest in a world full of masks.